Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, guys. How's my audio? How's everything? Have you liked the stream? Have you seen what Trump has said? I'm pretty sure most of you have already seen this. This was one of the harshest things he has said against any group of people. And you have seen also the reactions. And we're going to listen to Trump and we're going to see all the stuff that led to us getting here. And I also want to see your opinions in the chat. So I'm going to pay attention to what you guys say in the chat to see where you guys stand on this issue. I see my favorite people are already here. Thank you guys for being here. Anyways, let me know in the chat how my audio is, and also if you have seen this, if you have already seen this video from Trump, because it's a huge deal. Let's actually listen to it once, and then we'll go through the news. Hold on.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries too. I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them the hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
Okay, so that was intense. I mean, so let's just before we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this, but let's listen to how other people are talking about all of this before we come back to Trump. This has been a major topic for many commentators right now in America. This has become a big deal. The Somali population in the United States, and honestly, to be fair, this is a very problematic population, and I'll show you why. Right, so it is fair to say, on average, this is an underperforming, problematic population that, on average, has an inferior culture that we shouldn't be wanting in the United States. That is the correct thing to say. And it's also, in my opinion, an accurate thing to say that because on average they are, inferior in their way of culture and their way of life and their values, then it would make sense for you not to bring them at all to the United States. I do agree with that policy. Just no Somalis anymore in the United States makes sense to me. I wouldn't say I wouldn't talk the way Trump did. I wouldn't say that every single Somali is a net negative and every single one of them is a problem. Obviously, that's not the case. But when it comes to matters of immigration, as long as the average is much less, then technically for immigration policies, it doesn't really matter that there are individuals that are not a problem. The fact that this population on average is such a problem should be good enough for a country to say, like, okay, we don't want people from your country. So the only disagreement that I have with Trump is that he talked about it as if every Somali was a problem. Every Somali is not a problem, but there's enough problems from Somalis that it makes sense to just stop bringing people from Somalia. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? Precise Amir agrees with me. So that's the main thing I disagree with. But let's look at the rest of this news.
Back here in California, Minnesota's Democrat.
By the way, how's the audio quality of the news? Let me know.
33 pass back here in California. Minnesota's Democratic leadership is facing mounting pressure to try and explain how a series of alleged fraud schemes cost taxpayers more than $1 billion. Now, there is growing investigations into these cases by the day. Garrett Tenney has the latest from our bureau in the Midwest. Garrett, good morning to you.
Yeah, Bill, good morning to you. We've been reporting all week how that $1 billion figure for how much was stolen could really be just the tip of the iceberg. Well, now we have learned that several of the whistleblowers involved in these cases believe the total amount by the time these investigations are complete could be closer to $8 billion. Prosecutors have described this as an industrial complex of fraud with dozens of businesses set up for the sole purpose of defrauding the state of Minnesota, and that a vast majority of the folks involved came from the Somali community. Governor Tim Walz.
Wait, somebody in the chat is saying reported for racism. Guys, what did I say that was racist? What did I say that was racist? I mean, everything that you're saying is just reported fact. How is it racist to say not every Somali is, bad? And I specifically talked about culture. I didn't talk about their DNA. I didn't say this is inherent. You do realize that some cultures and some ways of life are inferior to others and are a problem. How is that racist again? Like, are we okay? Sure.
Says the state has now
reported for racism. Can somebody identify exactly what did I say that was racist? Let me know how I was being racist so I could learn from my mistakes.
Came from the Somali community. Governor Tim Walz says the state has now paused those government programs and brought in outside auditors to get a better idea of how far-reaching this fraud was to try to keep it from happening again.
My goal is to make sure that,
guys, given that somebody is reporting us for racism, can you like the stream if you haven't already so that it undoes the reporting that they're doing? I would appreciate that if you like the stream.
Was to try to keep it from happening again.
my goal is to make sure that those going forward have much better tools, much more safeguards around programs, to be clear, that improve people's lives.
I mean, the reason why they didn't have safeguards is exactly because people keep getting accused of racism. This is why you don't have safeguards, because if you were like, oh my God, these Somalis are stealing money, you would be accused of being a racist. You would be a racist if you like. That's what it is. That's why that's how, guys, Americans, you just lost $8 billion from the fear of being labeled as a racist. That's why you don't have these safeguards.
Help, whether it's children with autism, whether it's childcare, whether it's housing, whether it's food, nutrition, and those things are absolutely paramount. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Walz maintains that as soon as any of these fraud issues were raised, they were looked into by the state. But whistleblowers allegedly claim that the concerns over fraud in these programs were repeatedly raised to both Walz and other state officials, who dismissed them and then even retaliated against the whistleblowers for raising the concerns. State Republican
for what? Because they were being racist? Were they accused of being racist?
Lawmakers say all of these federal investigations that are now happening will finally bring light to an issue that has been ignored for years.
Oh my God.
There are some very strong allegations against the administration. And I guess you could look at it like this. Either the Walz administration is incredibly incompetent or they're complicit. At this point, I don't see how you see it any other way.
DHS has dubbed it.
So John is saying, how did they lose $1 billion? The Somalis in Minnesota were given a lot of money to go feed children and spend on a whole bunch of other programs, and they just pocketed the money and they didn't spend it on these programs. So that's how they lost $8 billion. And it took they just whoopsie, $8 billion just like Like, and they weren't check. Like, it was going on. Like, it was like in so many different, and people were seeing it happening, and nobody did anything about it. Probably because they didn't want to be accused of being racist.
This new ICE operation in the Twin Cities is Operation Metro Surge, and in its first 3 days, the agency says it has made at least 12 arrests, including 5 Somali individuals, several with previous convictions for fraud. Bill?
I imagine we'll be hearing more about this very soon. Garrett Tenney, thank you watching that story for us today out of Chicago. Thanks.
Okay, so the Small Business Administration is launching its own investigation now into the massive Minnesota fraud scheme. And SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler is announcing, quote, despite Governor Walz's best efforts to obstruct, SBA continues to work to expose abuse and hold perpetrators accountable, full stop. She is here with me now in studio.
Oh yeah, Nail Bunny in the chat saying their multiple wives all have snap cards and they buy up fruit which the husband sells in the shop. Yeah, that's actually another thing they do. Okay, so because they have one wife and apparently, like Nail Bunny, correct me if I'm wrong about this, they have 3 other wives, and these other wives, because technically they're single, right? And they're single mothers or something, they could basically apply for, government food programs, even though they shouldn't. I mean, technically they have a husband or something. I don't know the details exactly, but they go and take the food and give it to their husband. I mean, not legally husband, but just like quote unquote husband. And then the husband sells the food that was supposed to feed them in the store and make money off of it. Nobody say they do that in the UK. They're technically sick. Yeah, they're technically single mothers. And by the way, it's insane that single mothers get more benefits compared to non-single mothers, because basically you're motivating formations of families without the father in there. Like, you're basically, hey, here's your reward for not having the father around. I wonder what that would do to a society. We will give you a reward for managing to get rid of the father from the child's life.
And hold perpetrators accountable, full stop. She is here with me now in studio live. Thank you so much and good morning. Good to see you. Aisha. I know you're digging into this. We remember hearing about stories of fraud with all of this COVID-free money that was given away, especially during the Biden administration when the Democrats were in power.
$8 billion. That is like, how do you just whoops, it just poof. This is why you don't give your money to the government. The government should just be focusing on military and policing and justice and a few other things, okay? This is why you don't trust the government to run anything else, because they suck at it. They just lost, guys, private companies are not this incompetent. $8 billion just of your tax money just went to. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, some of this went to terrorists in Somalia. I don't know if you know. A lot of this money actually made us all, hey, congratulations, American taxpayer. You just funded Somali terrorists with your tax money. Good job.
Talk to me about how this is different, because I don't think it's that easy to commit fraud. I mean, someone has to be explaining to these people how you do it.
That's right, Aisha. This looks like a complex scheme that was set up to defraud taxpayers, our federal government, of needed funds that would have gone out during COVID for hungry families, for children, for small businesses. And so when I first heard of the billion-dollar corruption, my mind immediately went to PPP. And I said from day one when I came in, it's a new day at the SBA. We are going to crack down on the fraud.
Is PPP private-public partnership? Is that what she's referring to?
And I said from day one when I came in, it's a dollar corruption. My mind immediately went to PPP. And I said from day one when I came in, it's a new day at the SBA. We are going to crack down on the fraud that the Biden administration completely overlooked, swept under the rug for 4 years. And it wasn't that hard. Within 48 hours, we already found $1 million worth.
Oh, by the way, another huge controversy is that Trump called this guy on the screen a retard. And a lot of people thought that the R word is gone. And they think oh, Trump brought back the R word and now is normalizing again. But we have been using the R word on this channel a lot. So I'm glad that it's being normalized.
rug for 4 years. And it wasn't that hard. Within 48 hours, we already found $1 million worth of fraud within the Minnesota Somali crime network. And we're going to continue to investigate and work with our federal law enforcement partners.
It's mind-blowing how much money is out there. Taxpayer dollars, by the
That's
way,
right.
our money that we don't have a clue where it's at. This is Congressman
Oh, so PPP is Paycheck Protection Program. Okay, under COVID. Okay, that's what it is. Thank you.
Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and she was on the other day on another network claiming that the fraud got out of.
On the other network, I think she means CNN.
And she was on the other day on another network claiming that the fraud got out of control because this program via the government didn't have the right guardrails. Watch.
Just went. What? Hold on.
Can you shed any light on why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
You better have a good answer for this, guys. This is $8 billion. You better have a good answer for this.
I think what happened is that, you know, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the
Oh, guys, she's trying to blame someone else. She's like, oh, we're just is she trying to blame the federal government for this?
on
They're like, oh, they rushed. She's trying to blame it's like it's not our problem. The federal government was rushing this, so there was not enough safeguards. And oopsie, guys, they rushed this, and we lost $8 billion. What are you talking about? So many people were warning officials about this. What safeguards were you talking about? People were already seeing that this is happening, and you did nothing about it. You called them racist, probably.
third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
Oh, guys, it was just too fast. They threw money at us too fast. We couldn't help it. The money was coming at us at such a fast rate that we just dropped some of it. We just dropped $8 billion. Like we couldn't take all that money in, and we just dropped $8 billion of it somehow. That's their excuse. Okay. Oh my God.
You take a bite at that.
Guys, somebody should go to jail. Like these people should go to jail.
Well, that word salad cannot distract from the fact that this is exactly what the democratic socialist welfare state is. It's massive fraud where officials look the other way, enrich themselves for it, and then hardworking Minnesotans, hardworking Americans pay for it in the form of taxes, and they have their benefits taken away from them on their backs. So this is why we're cracking down. We're drawing a line and saying you will never get government benefits again when you defraud the government.
You know, on that note,
That's not good enough. They should go to jail. Oh, hey, here's your punishment. We will never give you billions of dollars ever again. Enjoy the billions of dollars that you've already received. Just that's enough. You're never gonna steal another $8 billion from us again. I'm pretty sure they're really crying about this. I'm pretty sure they're using some of that $8 billion to recover from this bad news. What are you doing? Like all of these people should go to jail.
Kim Strassel wrote a great piece in the Wall Street Journal. This is her column about the lesson in this Minnesota fraud scheme. She writes, we need to move many people off government dependency, not just for moral and societal reasons, but because government.
So Nail Bunny is saying deport, and John is saying that's racist. Elon is a U.S. citizen. I mean, technically, if you could, Elon lied apparently in her citizenship application. So usually I agree. I wouldn't agree with calling anybody racist over this. Usually I say, well, I mean, if she's a citizen, you cannot deport her, right? But with Elon, I have to say you might be able to deport her. I don't know how the laws work around this, because if she actually married her brother to be able to become a citizen in the U.S., then you could actually say that she never had citizenship. Yeah. So I don't know. Wait, hold on. We got a super chat. What do you guys think? Do you think like let me know if you think that's how Elon? Let me know in the chat if you think Elon should be deported, and if that's even possible. Given that she might have lied in her citizenship application. We got a super chat. Shauna saying, never forget Elon. Oh, there we go. That's exactly what we were talking about. Saying, never forget Elon married her brother and then left her actual baby daddy for a white guy. Oh my God. Woke in the streets, colonizing the sheets. Oh my God, Shauna, that is really good. Woke in the streets, colonizing the sheets. That is genius. You are a genius, Shauna. That's amazing. Okay, wait. I should screenshot this. I'm gonna try to steal this. That was genius. Yeah. So yeah, Flying Robot Duck is saying if she did lie to get citizenship, then deport her. Yes, I agree. I think she can be deported. She can be deported if she lied on her citizenship.
Has an obligation, not just for fraud scheme. She
fraud the government.
You know, on that note, Kim Strassel wrote a great piece in the Wall Street Journal. This is her column about the lesson.
Somebody saying you are spreading lies. A minority of Somalians committed these crimes. Well, a minority of Somalians committed these crimes, but this is a reminder of all the other problems we have with the Somali community in the United States. You think that this is the only problem? I will show you the problem. This is not like, oh, Somalis are a problem in the United States because of this. No. This is a reminder of everything else, all the other shit that Somalis bring to the United States with them on average. Hashtag not all. Okay? So just wait. I'll get there.
In this Minnesota fraud scheme. She writes, we need to move.
Somebody says Armin justifies genocide. No, I have condemned Hamas, but I don't know what you're talking about. I condemn Hamas.
Her column about the lesson in this Minnesota fraud scheme. She writes, we need to move many people off government dependency, not just for moral and societal reasons, but because government has an obligation to taxpayers and to the truly needy to right size and return to a system that can function. What do you think of that?
Well, Kim's exactly right. And I think one of the interesting things about the Democrat shutdown that hurt families and small businesses for the last 43 days was the exposure of how broad the welfare state is. And that's why the working families tax cut is so important. It includes work requirements for receiving welfare. And we have to reform welfare because it's going to be paid for on the backs of hardworking Americans if we don't. And that's what's exciting about the One Big Beautiful Bill is not only are we reforming welfare to encourage people to get back in the workforce, but the small businesses I talk to every single day whose top concern is a skilled workforce. We bring people back into being citizens, the dignity of work and being part of something instead of.
By the way, guys, if let me be clear here. If United States could figure out a very effective migration system that could really be good at finding those Somalis that are not going to be the problem and are going to be a net benefit to society, and this is like La La Land because you don't have that, in an imaginary world where you have a very effective selection machine that goes and finds the right Somalis, then we're like, oh, that's a very powerful filter. Then, okay, any Somali that could pass that filter should be allowed to come into America. But guess what? You don't have those. Like, we have proven that such filters don't exist. So you are forced, when we don't have such powerful filters, you are forced to say, you know what? I'm not going to accept anybody from your shithole country. I know there might be some good people there. I'm pretty sure there are, but I'm not going to take the risk. There are other countries where, on average, I'm going to be more likely to get qualified people that are going to be, and this is key, a net economic benefit to my country, but also, very importantly, a net cultural benefit to my country. You have to calculate both.
Expect citizens the dignity of work and being.
And notice how Race has nothing to do with any of this. There is no racial benefit. It's net economic benefit and net cultural benefit.
Workforce, we bring people back into being citizens, the dignity of work, and being part of something instead of expecting a handout. And that's what we are drawing a hard line on here and saying it needs to be available for the people who need it, not for the people who want to finance a lifestyle.
The scary part is, I mean, this is probably way bigger than what we can even imagine right now.
You're absolutely right.
Kelly,
yeah,
good to
thank
see
you so much.
Thanks for
Aisha.
coming in. Thanks.
All right, hold on. Let's go to this one. By the way, guys, we're going to go through this whole cultural Clash of Clans situation. I'm going to show you some things from the Somali community that I don't know if you have, if guys, do you know about the Clash of Clans? We have Clash of Clans in America. Congratulations, Americans. You are now you have clans fighting against each other. African clans are fighting against each other in America. I will show you that. Look at what you have imported.
The Trump administration
Somebody in the chat saying you are generalizing. I specifically said hashtag not all, and I specifically said I'm sure there are Somalis that are amazing people that would have been a net benefit, but there is no filter powerful enough to find them. So how the fuck am I generalizing, you moron?
To the fraud in Minnesota with a strong warning.
Our message to all is clear. Either fix this in 60 days.
Yeah, guys, I'm talking about averages, not all. If your society on average is backwards and barbaric, then I don't give a shit that not all of you are like that. It's still a risk to my society to bring people from you. Do you guys understand the difference between comparing averages and making a claim that all people from a society are like that? Do you have the mental capacity to understand the difference between these two claims?
The Trump administration reacting to the fraud in Minnesota with a strong warning.
Our message to all is clear. Either fix this in 60 days or start looking under your couch for spare change, because we are done footing the bill for your incompetence. This administration will never stop fighting to protect the vulnerable Americans who rely on these programs and the taxpayers who fund them. We're going to crush waste, fraud, and abuse.
Joining us now to react, former White House press secretary and Saturday in America host, Kayleigh McEnany. Always such a pleasure to have you.
Good to be here.
This is a shocking story about what has happened in Minnesota with Medicaid.
It's shocking. And when you look at this, $1 billion with a B, probably more, going to Minnesota, much of which was intended for COVID relief. I remember standing at the podium and talking about the Paycheck Protection Program, money going to small business owners. And that didn't happen in the case of Minnesota. Yes, some of it did, but some of it went to fund terrorism. Now you get the Medicaid component in there, and it just raises all kinds of questions. And this was going on back in 2022. And you had the Biden DOJ prosecuting some of these cases against these Somali immigrants. And then where was the media? Here we are. It's 2025, guys, and there were prosecutions in 2022.
Wait, let me see. Shauna just gave us a super chat saying, not African clans, Armin, Somali clans. Well, aren't Somalis African? They're African. They always say they're not African or black. What? How could they not say? I mean, do they say that? I mean, that's not right. And now black Americans are disowning them too. Yeah, well, I mean, just because they say that doesn't make them not African. They are African.
Where was the media?
And it's not like there weren't warnings that this is exactly what happens when you, especially with the COVID money, where you have this explosion of spending that is, it was like a fire hose going out. Of course, it was going to lead to a lot of corruption. But the thing that really gets me about this is that Democrats are supposed to be the party that believes in the government. They want the government to solve all of these problems. And yet Medicaid, which is like one of the most valued programs in the government, they allow this to happen. And then
really, a lot of you are saying they do say they are not African. Well, that's retarded. They are African. How could Somalis not be African? this is news to me. A lot of you are saying that the Somalis are saying that they're not African. They're most definitely African. Why would they even say that? You're like, yes, Armin, they claim they're not African or black. They're not. Have they not looked in a mirror? Do they not have mirrors in Somalia? They insist they are Somali and more similar to Arabs. I'm pretty sure Arabs will consider them both black and African. Do they not have mirrors in Somalia? What the hell are they talking? What are you? Are you serious? Is this a real thing? That's crazy. This is news to me. I did not know that.
And then for political reasons, want to act like it didn't happen.
Sure. And as we're talking about healthcare subsidies and the importance of lowering costs for Americans, you think about Medicaid money being a big part of that, going to Americans instead going to illegal immigrants.
Okay, wait. Shauna is saying it's 100% a real thing. You know what? That's racist. If you guys calling me racist, that's racist. The fact that Somalis are saying we're not black, you know why people would say we're not black? Because they're anti-black. Okay, so that's colorist. These are anti-black, racist black people. Okay, right? If they are so insisting that they're not black, well, that's racist. Okay, like they must really hate being black. Guys, isn't that racist? That is actually racist.
Think about Medicaid money being a big part of that, going to.
It's like, Brother Armin, we do not judge by the color of skin. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we don't, but it seems like they do. Okay, they do. They seem to. If you're so insisting that you're not black, it seems like you're judging by the color of the skin. Yeah, okay.
The importance of lowering costs for Americans. You think about Medicaid money being a big part of that, going to Americans instead going to illegal immigrants. But it's funny, here's some words that you might never thought you'd hear in the New York Times ever, but I found them deep buried in an article. The episode has raised broader questions for residents about the sustainability of Minnesota's Scandinavian modeled system. Whoa, New York Times, you're finally waking up. If you're something in the drinking water, conservative New York Times, hey.
And I would like to thank you for reading the New York Times so I don't have to.
You're welcome.
Over in the Wall Street Journal, we had an interesting op-ed pointing out that the lesson of Minnesota's fraud is that Republicans have an opportunity to run against out-of-control welfare state by Kim Strassel. I think it's a really good point. This is kind of, I think, the key difference, or supposed to be, ideologically, between Democrats and Republicans, that actually maybe all of this money going to these welfare programs, at the very least, need to be monitored.
Sure.
But if not that, there are dangers that come with it.
Absolutely. And Kim Strassel's always a.
Wait, look at this. Nailbun is saying Somalis claim to be Arabs. They claim to have been colonized by Islam. They claim to not have been colonized by Islam too. Lots of delusion. Guys, this is new to me. This to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, this to me sounds like Arab anti-black racism, Arab supremacy, and inferiority complex. This is a mix of Arab supremacy, feeling like Arabs are above black people. This is the influence of Arab colonialism that sees Arab superiors to the black Africans. And the Somalis have been influenced by that culture. So they want to be Arab instead of black. So they have the inferiority complex, they have anti-black racism, and they have Arab supremacy. This is what I'm feeling. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. That is what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Wow. That is messed up. That is really messed up. And then Yabs gave us a super chat saying, what a fragile generation, man. Everything is racist except racism itself. Yeah, sure. Everything is racist, apparently, except racism. Everything is offensive. except actually people getting hurt. Nuts. Oh my God. That's actually a very good description of what's happening here. That was perfect.
Voice of reason.
Yeah.
So too is the Wall Street Journal. But the Times actually took it a step further than just questioning the welfare state. They actually admitted the system helped create an environment that drew immigrants to the state over many decades, including tens of thousands of Somali refugees. So they actually had this through line, this like moment of reason. It's not just the welfare state, and it's the fact that it drew all of these immigrants here, and they have a huge problem in Minnesota. And Tim Walz knew about it. I've got to believe there were red flags. He was
both Elon and Tim should go to jail.
either completely ignorant or just turn the other way.
Yeah, and of course, if your immigration system is built to attract people that we can help, as opposed to attracting immigrants who can come and help us, then your system is kind of screwed up.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kill.
Okay, good to meet you. Let's look at this one. And then after this, we're gonna go watch the clan wars between Somalis in America.
Trump in recent days has taken aim at Minnesota's Somali community with xenophobic.
Who? Xenophobic? Holy shit. Hold on. Let's see.
President Trump in recent days has taken aim at Minnesota's Somali community with xenophobic remarks and calls for removal from the U.S. It coincides with a new ICE operation in the Twin Cities that's resulted in at least 5 arrests of Somali immigrants. Special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro has this report on the community's response and how we got here, including a sweeping fraud scandal that's gripping the state.
At Carmel Mall, a hub for Somali life and culture in South Minneapolis, business has been slower than usual this week.
It's very scary, especially small business owner. For us, for me, all the business, Carmel Mall, we're not making any money.
Concern rose here after word of an increase in federal immigration enforcement targeting Minnesota's Somali community. The state is home to
it's called enforcing the goddamn law.
About 80,000 people of Somali descent, the largest such population in the country. Most are citizens, and many were born here.
Well, most are citizens. That means there are a lot of people. That means not all of them. And if you could get as many of them who are not citizens out of the country, then yeah, you need people to show up and get them out of the country. And also, if you're not making any money, then that's actually maybe a good thing, so that there's less of you motivated to come here. Let me see. Cajun American just gave us a super chat. Hold on. Let me see. I'm sure you're making more money than what you would have in Somali. So in Somalia. So Cajun American saying there's a TikTok trend that says Minnesota was oh my God, we're gonna actually get to that. I have that ancestrally promised to the Somalis as a parody of Zionism. Time for CPCS vocational training. Okay, well, not that far. We're not going to go that far, but okay. But yeah, I actually have that. I'm going to show it.
The stepped-up enforcement, dubbed Operation Metro Surge, follows President Trump's repeated attacks on Minnesota's Somali community.
They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you.
He's right about that part. They contribute. He says they contribute nothing. That is wrong. That is wrong, because it's worse than that. Their contribution is not zero. Their contribution is negative. If you say Somali's contribution to the United States is zero, you're being generous. It's worse than zero. It's negative.
They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Their country stinks.
The president also singled out.
That's everything he said that you showed so far was correct. How is that xenophobic?
Ilhan Omar, the progressive Somalia-born Minnesota congresswoman who he's long criticized.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's
true.
Garbage. Her friend.
So yeah, I'm hearing no lies. Hold on.
Ilhan Omar, the progressive Somalia-born Minnesota congresswoman who he's long criticized.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain.
I was shocked, bro. I was like, what? I was just like, really? He said that?
What did he say that was wrong? What did he say that was wrong?
I've seen him say crazy things, but now it hits home.
The comments sparked an uproar.
Notice how he didn't actually explain. It's not explaining which part of it is wrong.
In Minnesota's Somali community.
We really thought, wow, why would somebody call a whole community and say you're garbage or you stink? Actually, we smell really good.
Well, actually, let me actually bring back. Well, you didn't play exactly what he said. I will play. Let me actually say exactly what he said. Let's go back to this one more time. Okay, because I'll tell you which parts I agree with. And guys, you let me know in the chat also which parts you agree with and which parts you don't agree with. So let's go through this one more time.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars.
So far true.
Billions. Every year, billions of dollars. And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't be tolerating this in your country.
Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason.
That's another correct. Their country is no good. Their country is a shithole. And if the reason is their inferior culture, that is also an accurate description of what's happening here.
Their country stinks. And we don't want them in our country.
So he's like, okay, so that lady was misrepresenting what Trump said. He said the country stinks. He doesn't say every single one of you individually stink. It says your country stinks. And stink here is metaphorical. It's not about smelling. It means that it's a garbage country, which it is. Okay, it's a failed state. It's not even a country anymore. It's a failed state.
I could say that about other countries too. I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other. And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
True.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
I mean, honestly, I thought he said a general thing about all Somalis, but he didn't. I think everything he said was correct. Did I miss something? I think I misremembered what Trump said, because everything he said here is correct. I thought that because I agree that we shouldn't generalize, but he didn't generalize. We're talking about the average. And everything he said was completely right. Or did I miss something? Was there anything he said that was incorrect? That was pretty base, I think. I think he was. I think he was on point on every. Or did I miss a part? Or did I misremember this? Yeah, I think that was all on point.
And Somali Americans who voted for Trump, like business owner Waris Mahmoud, expressed anger.
We want he make America great, but not insulting the people. He is the president.
He's not insulting. He's just describing facts. If you're being insulted, you're being insulted by facts.
He changed, his tongue because he doesn't know us. Come over here.
He knows that you're ruining his country.
Donald Trump, you are our president. Come over here, have a tea, and you will learn.
I mean, not you personally, like you as on average.
Who we are.
President Trump targeted Somali immigrants in his first term, too. But his rhetoric sharpened dramatically this week amid increased national attention to a series of massive Minnesota fraud scandals in which almost all of the dozens of people charged so far are of Somali descent. In one case, hundreds of millions of dollars were allegedly stolen from a program meant to feed children during the pandemic.
Guys, the money was specifically for feeding children. Have you heard? They literally stole money from hungry children. Like, do you understand the level of evil that you have to be to come up with a plan to steal money from hungry children? They stole money from children. Like, what the fuck? It's really hard to match this level of evil.
Officials called it the largest COVID-era fraud scheme in the country. Authorities later said there was large-scale fraud in a program designed to help people with disabilities get housing. And in September, a woman was charged for defrauding a state autism treatment program. All told, federal prosecutors estimate fraud in Minnesota could cost taxpayers over $1 billion. When you started to read about these fraud stories, what was your reaction as a Somali American?
Wait, is it $1 billion or $8 billion? Because earlier we were saying it's $8 billion.
I was ashamed.
Ahmed Samat.
Oh, here. What?
Your reaction as a Somali American?
Well, I was ashamed.
Ahmed Samatar is an international studies professor at Macalester College in St. Paul. Originally from Somalia, he's lived in Minnesota for over 30 years. He says Somalis mostly started arriving here in the 1990s, fleeing their country's civil war. They were drawn to Minnesota's generous safety net, including refugee.
This is why you should get rid of these safety nets for foreigners. This is exactly why your safety nets should be only for your citizens.
They were drawn to Minnesota's generous safety net, including refugee resettlement nonprofits based here.
Oh my God.
That's partly why he was so angered by Somalis' involvement in the fraud cases.
Somali Minnesotans have to face this, and they really have to clean up their act, because the state deserves better than that. But I think the challenge is to keep that in its proper place. Because
somebody's saying it was 300 million, not billions. 300 million was one of the fraud cases. There were many other fraud cases.
It's a real story. The challenge is to keep that in its proper place, because it's a real story. And then next to it, expound on what the Somalis have achieved in the state of Minnesota.
But as scrutiny of Minnesota's Somali community spikes, so does criticism of Governor Tim Walz for failing to heed early warnings about fraud and to do enough to combat it.
You commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to prison. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. Anybody who wants to help us in that, we welcome.
What is that what is that pin that he's wearing? What is that flag? Oh, that's Minnesota. Wait a minute. Why is the flag of Minnesota and the flag of Somalia so similar? The flag of Minnesota and Somalia both are blue with a white star in the middle of it. Is that what a coincidence?
Welcome that, but sitting on the sidelines and throwing out accusations, and let's be very clear, demonizing an entire.
Maybe Somalians, maybe they just lost their way because they thought that this is their flag, so this must be part of their country.
Entire population and lying to people about the safety and security of this state is beneath that.
The topic will likely dominate next year's gubernatorial election when a crowded Republican field will try to stop Walz from winning a third term. One of his challengers is Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Demuth.
This does point to Governor Walz, because whether or not some of it preceded him, it has exploded during his time leading our state. And there has not been that accountability that taxpayers are counting on.
What do you think about what has emerged since, which is a racialization at many levels of this issue?
You know, I don't think fraud needs to be a topic of race, but when we're looking at that,
it's a topic of culture. It's a topic of an inferior culture. Okay? these people, if they grew up in a different environment, they wouldn't be having this culture. It has nothing to do with their race. It's an inferior culture, not an inferior race. Stop trying to make this about race. They're trying to make this about race so that anybody who points out how inferior the culture is can be accused of being racist.
A topic of race, but when we're looking at that, it is heavily centered on one culture, one population. But I don't agree with any demonization of an entire culture. So I don't think that.
Why not? No, you should be against like, look, she's mixing race and culture. You should be okay with demonization of demonic cultures. It's fine to demonize certain cultures because they are like they're metaphorically demonic. You shouldn't be demonizing races, not cultures are okay to demonize. Oh my God.
Any demonization of an entire culture. So I don't.
No, there are cultures that are entirely shit.
Think that we're painting everyone with a broad brush, but we are definitely pointing where there has been known fraud, and that's what needs to stop.
We asked Damith about President Trump's recent comments about Somalis.
What's your message to the Somali community when they hear rhetoric like that?
My top message to Governor Walz is end the
To the
fraud.
Somali community.
My top message to Governor Walz is end the fraud here in the state of Minnesota. When fraud ends in the state of Minnesota, a whole group of people will not be concerned or wondering if they're going to be under investigation. Governor Walz has not taken fraud seriously enough in the state of Minnesota.
You don't take issue with the president's rhetoric?
I'm focused on what Minnesota is doing and our lack of leadership here.
Back at Carmel Mall, as rumors of ICE sighting.
Yeah, Shauna in the chat is saying Somalis should be apologizing, not getting defensive. Exactly.
And detentions trickle through the community. Residents and business owners anxiously await what comes next, while remaining defiant.
This is our country. If the people says to you, go back to your country, this is your country.
We're not scared of what our president said.
Yeah, I mean, he's right about that. The problem is that they shouldn't have brought this many of you here to begin with. And then now that you're a citizen, this problem is impossible to fix, but at least you could stop it from making it worse by not bringing more in.
We don't care whatever he wants or he can say. We're not going to scare with that. He cannot bully us.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Fred DeSantis.
It's not about bullying you. It's about stopping more of you from getting in.
In Minneapolis.
Okay, hold on. Let me actually show you some of this culture stuff that we're talking about. What is this? All right. So actually, we could end with Elon. Maybe let me actually start with some other people. What is this? No, this is the TikTok video that Asian American was talking about. What is this? Let's actually listen to the community themselves. Somali explains how the Somali candidate in Minnesota lost because of Somali clan infighting. Okay, so when you ask me, guys, Armin, how do you know that they have inferior culture? Okay, this is just one incident about a few people. Well, let me show you. Watch this.
This is wild. Imagine losing a Somali mayor because of tribalism, qabil. Yeah, Omar Fateh called out his Somali community and said, vote for me. The Somali community responded, what's your qabil?
By the way, qabil means like a tribe. So like qabile. Qabile, what's your qabil? What's your tribe?
The Somali community responded, what's your qabil? Omar Fateh, educated, qualified, confused, looks to his left and he sees his opponent, Jacob, being welcomed as Somali, given a tribe, Hawiya, and was giving a Somali name. His opponent got clan before vote. Ilhan Omar needed to step in and make a speech. Our community turned a city election into clan competition. We came here to be one Somali, and now we're divided into tribes in front of America, who don't even know what qabil is. This is embarrassing. The crowd silent. The educated Somalis in the diaspora turned into TikTok and said to the world, we talk about representation, but we lost because we couldn't represent each other.
Okay. Let me actually see if I could get a better explanation of this here. Omar Fateh unironically lost in Minnesota because of a significant part of the Somali community voted against him based on clan affiliation. Wow, guys, look at this. America's politics. It's not just that. This is so widespread that it's not just in your citizen. You're not just importing inferior culture. Clan wars, guys. It's clan wars in America. Not just among the community, not just among the people. It's now in your politics. Your elections are based on clan affiliation in America. Congratulations. You brought inferior African culture not just into American population, but into American politics. Wow. Enjoy. Clash of Clans in American politics. Enjoy your imported enrichment of multiculturalism. Oh, this is just music, huh? No, so it's just text on the. So Minnesota Somalis, when they see Somali candidate who isn't from their tribe running for office, so they ruin the whole election. You know what? Let's actually listen to Ilhan herself talking about this, because you think this is not a problem. Let's just listen to her herself, okay? So Ilhan Omar went into a full rage, lashing out after other Somalian clans refused to back her clansman Fateh and instead voted for Jacob Frey, calling for rival clans to be expelled and pushed out, especially since they were translating her Somalian speaking videos to the American audience. Minnesota politics are turning into Somalian primitive clan war. Okay, so look at this. This is amazing, guys. Let's look at the level of tolerance. Guys, we should be tolerant to the Somali population. They're not tolerant of each other. The Somalis in America do not tolerate each other based on clan affiliation. You're basically tolerating intolerance. This is extreme intolerance. They vote for someone else because they didn't want somebody who's a fellow Somali, but they hated him so much because he was a part of a clan that they didn't like, so they voted for the other guy so that the Somali can't win. That's insane. Yeah, exactly. Flying Robot Duck is saying this is a textbook example of lack of assimilation. So this is what happens when you have mass migration. I mean, migration can work if you do it slowly and with great filtering and with programs to make sure they assimilate. When you do mass migration, this is what you get. What? I don't understand your question. We're going to super chat saying, is enough for the nature of liberalism? I don't know what you mean, but liberalism, nationalism comes from liberalism, and nationalism requires that you protect your country. So let's watch this. Like, you're saying, so would Armin prefer Omar Fateh to win? It's not about who should win. It's about the fact that the decision. This is not about who should have won. This is about, these are a group of people that vote based on clan affiliation. How do you not? This is not about which candidate was better. This is about showing the decision-making process of this community shows that they are backwards, that this is an inferior culture. So let's watch. Ilhan would explain this to us. Here, Ilhan. So let's hear what she said. So when a Somalian person becomes an enemy, they become a serious one. There are people like that living right here in our country. We all see them. Some of us try to dismiss it, saying, oh, that person just talks too much. It doesn't mean anything. Or leave them alone. That's my relative. You probably met them in coffee shops. You know exactly the kind of people I'm talking about. Oh, guys, she's talking about her fellow Somalis, okay? You've sat with them at Starbucks. I think she's talking about another clan. Maybe you've seen them at the mosque once in a while. Maybe you've gone to parties together. You know who I mean. You've seen them. We need to get rid of these people. Guys, these people are preaching to you that you need to be tolerant. Oh, these white Americans being so intolerant of Somalis. They're so racist. They're so bigoted. They're so intolerant. Look at this. They can't tolerate each other. Okay, and based on clan affiliation. Okay, okay, amazing. I mean, you shouldn't be lectured by these people regarding anything tolerance related. And again, when people say like, oh, Armin, these were like the people who committed that fraud, they were just a few people. Well, don't trust me. Like, look at how widespread this is. Trust Elon. She's talking about the Somali community in Minnesota. You see how widespread this is? We will never gain power and move forward as Somalians. Oh my God. As long as these people live among us. First, by the way, why the fuck do you want to gain power as Somalians? Shouldn't you be gaining power as Americans? Aren't you supposed to be one with the rest of America? Why are you trying to gain power for Somalians? Aren't you supposed to be just part of the American nation and try to just gain power, as much power for America as a whole, rather than gaining power for the Somali bloc? You're like, aren't you like a proud America that is supposed to be here to serve Americans? Look at, like she said, like, gain power as Somalians. You shouldn't be trying to gain power as Somalians. You should be trying to serve. You're the politicians. You should be serving America, not Somalian power. Like, oh, look at, and we don't kick them out. Like, oh my gosh, this is. We need to get rid of these people. We will never gain power and move forward as Somalians as long as these people live among us. And we don't kick them out. Wow, guys, they cannot tolerate these people themselves. And they tell you that you're a racist for not tolerating them. The same people that can't tolerate each other will come and label you as a racist for not tolerating them. Like the same people, Somalians, we try to defend the same people we try to defend, they're the ones who want to see us in jail. Who spread lies about us, who make videos claiming we said things we never said. No, guys, I know the point that she's making. I completely know the point she's making. There are Somalians who try to they translate her videos into English to call her out, and this is happening by her own community. I know what she's talking about. And like, for example, just like the one that we're watching right now, who spread lies about us, who make videos claiming we said things we never said. And when that happens, there's no way to defend ourselves. Yeah, I can't keep saying all day, I didn't say that because I've got work to do. We're busy doing our job, defending you, Somalians, protecting this country, creating laws. I can't waste every day fighting against accusations of what they accuse me I said on video. That's your responsibility and your job to not welcome those people. Wow, I mean, guys, let me know what your interpretation of this is. That sounds very intolerant. I mean, if she gets to say that about some Somalis, then why can't we not say that? Why can't we say that? Like, it's your responsibility not to welcome those people. So how is it okay for her to believe this and not okay for us? Oh yeah, Nelbon in the chat is saying just the fact that she's not speaking in English shows how they have not integrated at all. I don't know. I mean, yeah. No, I think if you are in a crowd of people that everybody speaks a similar language, it's okay to speak that language. I think there's other ways to show that they have not integrated. The fact that they are having having clan wars, I think that's a better indication. Wait. That's your responsibility and your job to not welcome those people. Who work to block and undermine Somalians in this country for gaining power or have influence. Yeah. Yep, this is not good. This is no good. This is fucking bullshit. You shouldn't be tolerating this. So this is a TikTok video Asian American was talking about. And I think this is satire. This person, religious fanaticism. Let me see what he was saying. This is a Somali.
Yo, Minnesota was promised to us Somalis 3,000 years ago. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Kushite bigot and you need help immediately. Also, if you read Genesis 12:3, it says that those who bless Somalis will be blessed, and those who try to harm them will bring harm upon themselves. I didn't say that. Genesis 12:3. Just saying.
Yeah, so I think he's just making fun of Jews and their claim over Israel. That's what he's doing, right? That's what he's trying to do. That is satire. But I think this person, some people were posting this as if, like, oh my God, they believe this. I think he's just making fun of Jews. Yes, the Jew thing. Anyways, let's listen to Trump one more time before we go to our... Oh, by the way, before we listen to Trump, I just want to be based on all that to see if we agree with him or not. But also, I'm going to post our community. Guys, after this, let's go into our community. The link is in the description. It's also in the chat. Let's just go have a group call about this, all of us together. By the way, guys, if you don't know, in 50 minutes, actually. After our shows, around this time, every day we have a group call. The people in this in our community, we go to, and it's free, by the way. You could join, come there. We have a really fun community that we talk politics and religion and the news and all of these stuff that is happening. It's a really good place to meet people, and it's growing really fast. Oh, we got 2 super chats. I need to respond to those as well. Let me actually respond to that. Okay, so you're saying, isn't this natural for liberalism? No, so liberalism has turned into something that it was never, people don't understand. So if you're talking about if liberalism is meant to represent classical liberal values, then classical liberal values includes nationalism. Classical liberal values includes nationalism. In the United States, when people talk about liberalism, unfortunately, it now apparently means progressive. For so many Americans, it means progressive leftist values, but that's not what it's supposed to represent. Liberalism is supposed to represent classical liberal values, which includes protecting your nation state. Right? And we got a new member. Zionist Forever just became a member. Well, thank you so much for being a member. And then Amir just gave us a super sticker. Thank you so much, Amir. That's very sweet. That's very kind. Thank you so much for that. So let's listen to this based comment. Again, guys, I'm not anti-Trump or pro-Trump. Whenever he does something good, I celebrate that. Whenever he does something that I don't like, I call it out. Okay? That's how it works here. But this 2 minutes from was based. He didn't, there's no lies. There's nothing here that he said that was wrong. So let's listen to it again.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country is no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong.
Wait, so let me see this part again.
We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to it again, and I don't see which part of it is wrong, honestly. If you're saying what part of it is wrong, explain it to me. And by the way, guys, some people reported us for racism. I don't, so please like the stream to undo that, to undo the influence of that, because I don't know what I said that was racist. Anyway, so in 45 minutes, we're going to have a group call, and anybody who wants could open their mic and speak, or you could just come and listen to the rest of us speaking. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the description. And just come join our politics discussion group. And yeah, it's a good place to meet people and talk to new people. Anyways, I'm going to head out. Thank you guys for being here. Like the stream, leave a comment, recommend this channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all of those things. Okay? All right, guys. Come, and if you disagree with me, come in the discussion group and talk to me about it there. Tell me why I'm wrong. All right, guys. See you there. Bye. Oh, I'm Israel Chai. Javicha.